All right, Arsenal 0-0 against Atalanta. And just for context, what am I doing? Because obviously I'm not in my usual setup. Mumtaz Leeds, the finest restaurant in Leeds. Obviously, every time I come to Leeds for an Arsenal game, whatever, I always make sure I come here. But I'm in Leeds today because I came to see Tez Elias is doing a stand-up show on tour, so I was watching that, which meant I had to watch the game on my phone, which was really annoying because I booked these tickets before the Champions League draw was done. But obviously, you've always got to watch the game. So sorry, Tez, I sort of multitasking when I was watching you. And do you know what? Tez didn't disappoint. He was brilliant, and Arsenal didn't disappoint. They were not brilliant, but they were good enough. Obviously, look, the slight disappointment that we couldn't win, because I think now, and as an Arsenal fan, you're confident every time you play. Even Man City next week, I'm going there thinking I want to get a win, because we've got that ability to nick a 1-0 like we showed against Tottenham. But today, do you know what? I have to say, I think a draw was a really, really fair result. I think it was a really even game, so the scoreline was reflective of that. And yes, they had a penalty, but I really don't think that was a penalty. I don't know what everyone else thinks, and I couldn't listen to the commentary when I was watching the game because, I don't think Tez would have appreciated that, or anyone else in the audience. So I was sort of like watching it without the commentary, but just from my own view, I just thought it was so soft. The amount of times I feel like I've sat here and would have been Arsenal on the wrong end of a decision like that, not getting a penalty, and I would have said, you know what, I'd be really, really disappointed if that went against us. Well, that's today. I felt really, really annoyed, and maybe it's just sort of, a bit of home turf advantage for Atalanta, but that was unbelievably soft. I have to admit, though, I have not been impressed with Thomas Partey against Tottenham or today. I feel like, he's definitely nowhere near what he was when he was performing really, really well for Arsenal week in, week out. And I know he hasn't played like consistent, regular football for ages. He's sort of been a bit on and off over the last season, and we're only just back into the new season, even though it kind of feels like it's been a while because of the international break. But I guess he hasn't played as much football as what he would want to be able to be absolutely perfectly sharp. But I think it showed for that as well. He got beaten way too easily. And even though I don't think it was a penalty, he's given the referee a decision to make. Very frustrating. But we've got to talk about David Raya because, yet again, he has pulled out an unbelievable save. And I just, you've got to hand it to him. He came in replacing Aaron Ramsdale in what kind of felt like a bit of a hostile environment for him, because no one was really expecting the Ramsdale for Raya switch, and Ramsdale was a fan's favourite. I've said that before, so it took a lot of people a long time to warm to David Raya. It's obviously not his fault, but you know what I really noticed about David Raya is that I thought he dealt with the whole situation really, really well, because he read the room and he just kept quite a low profile, in my view, in that sort of time until he's let his football do the talking. And it's something that you always say about a player when they get it wrong. You always end up saying, prove it on the pitch, let your football do the talking when they don't do that. But when someone does do that, they don't get the credit for doing it. It's only ever something people say as a criticism. So I want to give David Raya his praise. He's come in when it was quite difficult, and he wasn't sort of universally loved. A lot of people didn't like the decision. And he's just plugged away quietly, and now I think he's really, really performing brilliantly. I for one, always felt like, even in summer, I had always said, if, for example, we can go and get a Jan Oblak, for example, a keeper that I regard as world class, if we could be cutthroat enough with Ramsdale, then let's be as cutthroat with David Raya, and let's go and get players that can elevate this team to the next level. We haven't done that with David Raya. We kept him. We signed him permanently from Brentford instead of going for a world-class keeper. But if David Raya carries on playing like the way he's been playing so far, if he carries this on for the whole season, he's in that conversation. Because today, my God, that double save. People might say with the penalty, it's a bit of luck, you sort of guessed the right way. But he guessed the right way. Let's give him the credit there. It's all about the second save for me. Absolutely brilliant. Getting back up that quick. Again, I said it last time with his brilliant save. It's hours and hours and hours of work on the training ground, making a save, and then another coach is kicking another ball at you, you know, when you don't even have the time to get up, and it's doing all of that repetition. It's in these big moments that it comes to the fore, and he did brilliantly. So credit to David Raya, really well played. You know, moving on overall with the result, it's not easy to go and get good results away from home in Europe. It's tough at the sort of Champions League level. So a 0-0, I'm not going to turn my nose up at that. It would have been nice if Martinelli had the real key chances for Arsenal. It would have been nice if he had done better. I am slightly worried about his end product at the moment. He should be hitting the target, should be doing a bit better. But overall, I'll take this. I'll take a 0-0. Coming out of the game with no injuries, we've got a massive game against Man City. We've just had a massive game against Tottenham. There's a bit of squad management to think about. You don't want your players to burn out too quickly or to get injuries or anything like that. So I'm happy. Players are unscathed, ready to go against Man City, which will be a huge game. And especially with this new format in the Champions League, we've got more games to be able to make sure that we finish in the top 8. And the way I see Arsenal, we should absolutely be doing that. So no complaints from me. Arsenal, please beat Man City. No one will care about the fact that we didn't win this game if before and after this game we beat Tottenham and we go and beat Man City. That would be an unbelievable return from the week. And that's it. Listen, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, and I'll see you next time. Take care.